What's the most helpful tip you can think of to share with support engineers who are interested in moving all the way up the ladder to staff?
My career advice for folks, whether they're working up the ladder towards staff or in general, really, is just always be on the lookout for opportunities. Learn, grow, improve, and look for ways to contribute. GitLab's short toes operating principle and others afford us the freedom to contribute in any way we can. A lot of organizations would want you to, stay in your box. And that kind of isn't the GitLab way. So take full advantage of this and just keep moving. Figure out the destination later on.
So the most helpful tip for anyone who wants to move up to staff, I want to say, ask yourself why. Because I do think it is perfectly reasonable to stay at a senior level. I mentioned this in another response. I think it's natural for almost everyone to progress towards senior with enough time. And then I think it becomes a decision, right? Much like probably everyone who goes for staff thinks about, do I want to keep on the IC, on the individual contributor track, or do I want to go into management? It should be a conscious decision. And just the same, it should be a conscious decision to actually want to go to staff. I wouldn't say I had a perfectly good answer to that myself. Again, in an earlier question, I did say it just felt like it made sense, right? I looked at what I was doing and, comparing that to the handbook was that's actually staff level. So I guess, and I do think that is a good enough answer to the why question. Maybe you have a more specific one, but at least think about that, right? I would caution to just do it because you feel it has to be the next step. I think it is very okay to stay an excellent senior. So there's that. If you do go for it, I think the most helpful tip is don't be alone. I bring that up every chance I have when leadership is involved, because I think leadership, it's important for good leadership to not be alone. Leadership to me, it means so many things in the context of this thing that I'm now gonna tell you. I think it means that you have to own a decision alone, right? That's the leadership you have to bring to the table. You have to own the decision alone, but you do not have to make the decision alone, and that is a very, very important difference. So to bring it to the staff promotion, Brie and I worked a lot together on our promotions, and I've always pushed for being more collaborative and more transparent in our promotion process. So near and dear to my heart. And we wrote drafts for each other's promotion documents, like not the entire thing, but for sections, or if we were struggling with a section, we said, hey, can you give me a starting send, like stuff like that, right? That is already very helpful. And then when the imposter syndrome kicks in and you think, oh God, I can't write that. That's ridiculous. I'm not actually good. Ugh, oh my God, people. Right, and so you send it to someone else, to your have a partner in crime. Send it to them, and they will not laugh, right? They might say, I see where you're coming from. Maybe write it like that, or most likely they will say, what are you talking about? This is perfectly fine. Actually, write it even more strongly. Write it like this, right? And so how does that translate to what I said earlier? You are still the person ultimately handing in your promotion document, right? It's your decision. If it hadn't worked out, if I hadn't gotten the promotion, I would of course not have gone to Brie and said, wow, I can't believe you failed me. I didn't get the promotion. No, it was my document. I have to own that. But getting to the point of having something that I can own own the words are hard. That was so much easier because of that support, right? And yeah, that's imperative. And I hope it's already known to everyone, but there's new people on the team, of course. Doesn't matter if it's staff or not. I will always happily be available to be your partner in crime and hype you up and help with that. So please do reach out if that's something that resonates with you.
So I have a directly actionable tip for a question like this, which I love. So, for folks who are thinking about pursuing the path to promotion to staff support engineer themselves, I would highly recommend focusing on gaining and deepening your perspective of the bigger picture. So, what you'll want to do is work to understand the different teams at GitLab, the problems they're trying to solve, and the challenges they face. And you'll want to understand the different roles and titles at GitLab and the problems that people in those roles are trying to solve. And a great way to do that is through coffee chats. So I love in coffee chats to talk with people about how they interact with support. And that can be another great way to understand the impact and the importance of the GitLab support team. A great place to start is customer success. So customer success solves similar related problems to some of the problems that the support team is solving. And as I deepened and broadened my understanding of what it is customer success does and the different roles within customer success, that's been super helpful to me as I navigate unclear, ambiguous situations. So I think that customer success is a great place to start, but it's not limited to customer success. Every time I've taken the opportunity to understand more about a particular team at GitLab and the problems they're solving, I've walked away with, oh my gosh, light bulb moment that helps to connect dots. And it is really useful information in a variety of situations in the future. Like it's great context to have. And you don't need any title to start doing that now. So I would say have coffee chats, read through the handbook, understand outside of support what the different roles and teams at GitLab are and how they fit into the mix.
Oh, lucky last, surely. So, what's the most helpful tip I can think of for support engineers who want to ascend the ladder to staff? And I think the big one is get to know your team. And what that means is I would start off by setting up recurring meetings with all the other support engineers in your region, because that's definitely how you build rapport and how you understand each other's skill sets. And a lot of knowledge sharing goes there in terms of technical skills. If time zones allow, definitely reach out cross regionally as well to your peers there. And I would also not ignore the fact that we have lovely support managers and even directors on the team. So definitely reach out to them and set up some pairing sessions with them as well, because not only do they jump at the opportunity to work on some technical issues, but there's a lot of things that they can teach you in terms of soft skills. So things like leadership, communication, time management, and those are just as valuable, if not more, especially if you're going towards staff. There's also other things like ensuring that you're always participating in crush sessions, pod sessions, and any other group initiatives. And finally, I would strongly recommend becoming a support stable counterpart, because if you want to build those cross-team collaborative efforts from support to other departments or product groups, you definitely that's the easiest way to fast track that is becoming an SSC. And, have meetings with your product manager, have meetings with some of the back end and front end engineers on the team, and start to build those relationships. Because, yeah, in my opinion, that's definitely the best way to fast track yourself to staff.